Most people think a very high IQ is easy to spot. They imagine someone who always has the answer, speaks with confidence, and stands out in every room they enter. But what's interesting is that some of the strongest signs of intelligence don't look impressive at all. In fact, many of them are often mistaken for insecurity, overthinking, or even social awkwardness. The strange part is that highly intelligent people are not always the ones who appear smartest on the surface. Sometimes their minds work in ways that make life more complicated, not less. And by the end of this video, one of these signs may completely change how you think about intelligence itself. 1. One of the most overlooked signs of high intelligence is constantly questioning your own conclusions. Most people assume intelligence creates certainty, but the mind often works differently. The more someone understands a topic, the more aware they become of everything they don't know. This is why highly intelligent people often double-check their opinions, revisit their beliefs, and sometimes change their minds completely. From the outside, this can look like indecisiveness. In reality, it may be intellectual honesty. They're less interested in being right than in getting closer to the truth. And that tendency leads directly into the next sign. 2. You often replay conversations long after they've ended. Most people think this is simply overthinking. Sometimes it is. But what's interesting is that highly analytical minds naturally review information, even when there's no immediate benefit. A comment, a facial expression, a small detail that others forgot within minutes can stay active in the mind for hours. Not because the person is obsessed, because their brain keeps searching for patterns and hidden meaning. The downside is mental exhaustion. The upside is an unusual ability to notice things others miss, and that ability becomes even more interesting in the next sign. 3. You get bored surprisingly fast with repetitive conversations. At first glance, this can seem arrogant, but often it has very little to do with feeling superior. Highly intelligent minds tend to crave novelty. Once they understand a concept, repeating it over and over provides very little mental stimulation. This is why some people lose interest when conversations stay on the surface for too long. They aren't necessarily looking for complexity. They're looking for discovery. They enjoy exploring ideas, perspectives, and possibilities, and that curiosity often creates another unusual behavior. 4. You spend a lot of time alone, even when you genuinely like people. Many assume intelligence automatically leads to social isolation. That's not really the point. The deeper reason is that thinking requires mental space. Some people recharge through social activity. Others recharge through reflection. Highly intelligent individuals often have active inner worlds. They may enjoy conversations, friendships, and relationships, but they also need time to process ideas, analyze experiences, and connect thoughts. What appears to be loneliness from the outside may actually be mental recovery. And this connects to something even more surprising. 5. You notice contradictions that other people seem comfortable ignoring. This can happen in conversations, workplaces, relationships, or even your own beliefs. The strange part is that noticing contradictions isn't always pleasant. It often creates tension. Because once you see something doesn't make sense, it's difficult to pretend you didn't notice it. Many intelligent people spend years feeling frustrated because they constantly see gaps between what people say and what they actually do. But this tendency isn't just criticism, it's pattern recognition. And pattern recognition shows up in another unexpected way. 6. You frequently feel different without fully understanding why. This doesn't mean better. It doesn't mean worse. Just different. Many highly intelligent people grow up assuming everyone processes information the same way they do. Over time, they realize their thought patterns, interests, and observations often don't match the people around them. Sometimes they notice details others overlook. Sometimes they ask questions others never think to ask. Sometimes they become fascinated by ideas that seem unimportant to everyone else. The result can be a quiet feeling of disconnection. Not because they can't connect with people, because their minds naturally approach the world from a different angle. And that's where the biggest misunderstanding about intelligence begins. Most people think intelligence is about knowing more, but many of the signs we've discussed have very little to do with knowledge itself. Questioning your own conclusions, replaying conversations, craving mental stimulation, needing time alone, spotting contradictions, feeling different without knowing exactly why. These are not proofs of high IQ. They're patterns that often emerge when a mind is constantly analyzing, connecting, and exploring. What's interesting is that intelligence rarely feels impressive from the inside. From the inside, It often feels like curiosity, uncertainty, frustration, and an endless desire to understand things more deeply. And perhaps that's why so many intelligent people never realize how differently they see the world. I'm curious which of these signs felt the most familiar to you. Did any of them change how you think about intelligence? Or did one stand out more than the others?